it like being a pilot? Uh, it's fun. It's enjoyable. I love doing it. We get to travel to places that most people will never see in their entire life. And if we're lucky, we get to be there for 2 or 3 days, giving us the chance to meet and greet the local population, enjoy the local food. And if we're really lucky, we get to lay on the beach, enjoy the wave, enjoy the sand. And if we do have a rental car, we get to drive about and see what the geography of the country is like. What I particularly enjoy about being a pilot is taking people to and from important family events, weddings, funerals, graduation. It's not often that we get to observe how our efforts help someone to share those very special moments. For me, flying at night is wonderful. There is nothing as beautiful as seeing the dark sky set against a full moon, stars, shooting stars. It just doesn't compare. Nothing compares to flying over the Grand Canyon, looking down, trying to figure out how it was formed. In the northwest, you're flying close to the dormant volcanoes. It is wonderful. I've had friends who left aviation for 5 years, 10 years. I've even had one person I fly with who left aviation for 15 years and eventually came back. And that's the thing about aviation, in particularly being a pilot. Once it gets into your blood, you cannot get rid of it, don't matter how hard you try. I myself has made numerous effort to get away from aviation when things were really tough. Like the friends of mine, I always end up going back to aviation because it's such a wonderful thing. However, it should be said that aviation also has a dark side. And this is the thing that people don't often talk about. You are often gone from your family. You miss birthdays, you miss holidays, you miss parent teachers association meetings, you miss watching them grow up, you miss hearing them say their first words. It is the one thing that I've noticed that we as pilots have never learned to come to grips with. I was speaking to a friend of mine who have been a pilot far longer than I have. I asked him, have you ever thought about or figured out a way to deal with not having to leave your family? He said no. And this is someone who have been in aviation for 20 plus years. I've only been doing it as a career for 10 and a half years. There is this misconception with our spouses that it is easy for us to leave our family and go to work. For me, it's never been easy. It's something I've never been able to come to grips with. The obvious question is then, why did you guys leave? Why did you go? Because we face this very terrible choice between staying home with our family, watching them grow, being there, but being miserable because we are not able to do the thing we are so passionate about. I don't know of anyone who truly loves someone who would encourage that type of sacrifice. The other aspect of aviation that is quite dark is relationships. There is this unfortunate misbelief that we are out there having fun. We are out there not thinking of our loved ones. We are out there not thinking of our family. In fact, it's all we think about, at least for me. It is all I think about. When I pre flight a plane, I'm thinking I want to come back home safe. When I'm out in a country that I'm unfamiliar with, I stay most of the time in my hotel room because I want to come back safe. We are not out there running away from our responsibilities as fathers. We are not out there running away from our obligations to be there in the raising of our children. It's not fun for us to miss those first things. We don't take it lightly. This misbelief has led to hatred, resentment, and eventually divorce among pilots because the spouse is at home thinking that we're out there having a good old time with no thought for the strain that they're under, having to discipline the kids, having to stop them from fighting, having to take them to and from school, having to take them to and from various after school events. We are conscious of it 100% of the time. But we are also conscious of our responsibility as a provider, needing to provide a life for our children and our family that is better than the one we had to start with. In aviation, there is more divorces and more broken family than any other sector. I believe the only sector that comes close is probably a truck driver. Whenever someone tells me that they're planning to become pilot, I would ask them, "Are you in a relationship?" Naturally, they would give me this weird look, like, "Why is he asking me that?" I ask for the reasons I gave before. People are usually romanticizing the notion or the idea of being a pilot without considering the effect it has on an ongoing relationship. But then again, how could you possibly know about the effect of something you are unaware of? I proceed to tell them if you are in a relationship, you should end it now. And if they tell me they're not in a relationship, then I proceeded to tell them how I became a pilot and what steps they need to take. I encourage them to end their present relationship because by the time they have become a pilot and they have attained their first job, they would have been in that relationship for 5 to 6 years and they may or may not have had at least one child. Your first job as a pilot takes you away from home for either 10 days, 15 days, or 20 days at a time. It is extremely stressful to plunge someone into that environment who was ill prepared for it. As such, the marriage or the relationship always ends within 3 to 5 years of someone becoming a pilot. If you were to meet 10 pilots, 9 of them are in one of the current relationship phases, about to get divorced, dating, single, or just decided to give up on relationship completely. And the 10th person is too young and inexperienced to know what's about to happen. I ask this of you. The next time you board a plane, take the time to acknowledge the flight crew, not just the pilots, but the flight attendants. In order to get you to your loved ones, these brave men and women are foregoing time with their family. They're missing birthdays, they're missing holidays, they're missing PTA meetings. They are making a great sacrifice for you. Please take the time to tell them thank you. I can assure you they will appreciate it. That's it for this one. Until next time, be good.